Hi. I came here straight from work on my birthday to give you a review because oh god, what am I doing with my life? Oh god. Hold on 1 second. I got it. Okay. I think I'm good. I think I can carry on with this review. So, to start on this not depressing at all blog, we got a new album review. This is the Black Keys. Shiny, right? You can get lost in this. It's the Black Keys Turn Blue, a major change up from a major blues band. So, let's get into some history on the Black Keys. Black Keys are an American rock duo, originally at least a duo. They started in Akron, Ohio in 2001, and the group consists of Dan Auerbach on guitars and vocals, and Patrick Carney on drums. They began actually as an independent act in music basing on self-producing their records before they eventually merged as, one of the most popular garage rock artists of the past decade. So yeah, guitarist and vocalist Dan Auerbach and Patrick Carney first met when they were 8 or 9 years old, living in the same neighborhood of Akron, Ohio. While first attending Flint Firestone High School, they became friends. Though they were part of different crowds, Auerbach was the captain of the high school soccer team, and Carney was a social outcast. Encouraged by a mutual friend, the duo began jamming together in '96, as Auerbach was learning guitar and Carney owned a 4-track recorder and a drum set. After graduating, they briefly attended University of Akron before dropping out. Auerbach attempted to make a living from performing at small bars in town before realizing he would not be able to book shows in other cities without a demo. To record one, he asked help from Carney, who agreed to provide recording equipment to allow his basement to be used if they recruited other musicians. However, none of the backing band showed up on the recording date. Instead, Carney and Auerbach jammed, eventually leading to the duo performing a mixtape in 2001. They recorded a 6-song demo consisting of old blues riff-offs that were made up on the spot. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, right? I mean, interesting to me that they just kind of showed up, and that's why there are 2 pieces, because no one else came. And the songs were improvised, just like, we don't got anything, let's go with it. After that, according to NPR's Fresh Air, the group, the name The Black Keys, came from schizophrenic artist Alfred McMore, and the pair apparently knew that person. It would leave incoherent messages on the answering machines referring to their fathers as the Black Keys. Huh. After that, the band's debut, The Big Come Up, was recorded in Carney's basement on an 8-track and a lo-fi in 2002. And the rest was history. We go from there to Thick Freakness on Fat Possum Records. From there we go festivals, tours all over the world, and straight into more albums, because they literally put out an album every other year, opening for famous rock bands. From there, Rubber Factory, Magic Potion, Attack and Release, side projects such as the Black Rocks, which was actually a hip-hop group, before coming back and going on to Brothers, critical acclaim, major success. Woo, we're here today. So the Black Keys have just a successful formula that they've worked with for years, and it's always produced awesome albums and hits, and for some reason they decided to change it. Or was it because they really needed to? Anyway, the Black Keys have a tried and true formula they've used since Thick Freakness, so I think it's about time they changed it, even though this really worked for them. It's been a long time, and you get tired of hearing the same thing over and over again. Think 3 Days Grace, or 3 Doors Down, or any of those bands that have 3 in the name. It's the same sound. It really is, and it gets old when you hear the same thing over and over again. It was a nice change. They needed to throw fuel in the fire, and they did that. It opens up with the first song on here, which is Weight of Love. And Weight of Love, man, that's a song. It's a 7-minute long blues epic. It's just seriously an epic song. It's hands down the best song on the album. 7 minutes solid with 70s psychedelic stoner rock and blues thrown in. It's got an almost 2-minute long instrumental intro. It throws some of the best guitar work Dan has ever done. May not be, for the older fans, easy to adapt to, but if you embrace it, it's an amazing slow burn rock song. The second one, In Time, opens with a huge blues riff and some falsetto vocals from Dan. This song is, the Danger Mouse effect. The producer Danger Mouse, as one of my favorite producers and musicians, his use of synthesizers on this during the choruses adds something to the song. The new sound gives Patrick a change up, but he fires the solid and slowed down driving beats with ease like you would expect. Turn Blue is one of the singles released before the album came out to show off the new sound, and it still does manage to hold a good job of that. It's a classic slow-burning blues song, and it's got less of the fast-paced blues we're used to from them, and more old-school, slowed-down, jamming blues, and they nail it with ease. Fever is one of my favorite songs and the lead single off the album. When I first heard it, I wasn't quite sure what to think of it because I was used to the old sound, but I got past that enough to find that it's really this sultry, old-school blues song that adds some soul into the song by just slowing it down and jamming out, and it's great. It works. Year in Review is more of a straightforward rock song, and it's more focused on guitars, and he has some seriously awesome solos on that song. Bullet in the Brain is a 70s rock song, and oh wait, no it isn't. Danger Mouse throws his electronic style into it, and it's full of swirling synth, blues guitar riffs, and a driving beat. This is one of my personal favorites because it's hard to describe. It's way out there and different, but it really just comes together. It's Up to You Now shows off Patrick showing this just incredible drum ability that he's got with an increased speed and a tribal drum beat. It feels like 70s rock, again with psychedelic vibes to it. Waiting on Words is an acoustic number with lighter floating vocals on top and has a Broken Bells vibe from Danger Mouse, which is, again, since I'm a huge fan of Broken Bells and Danger Mouse, it's not a bad thing. I think I like it. 10 Lovers is another Danger Mouse-driven synth song, and it's a very mix between blues rock solos and catchy synth melodies. It's not, again, it works though. And the final two songs on the album are both brilliant and completely different from each other. This one opens up with a lone piano before cutting to the second half of the song, which is a battle between blues guitar solos and an organ, and that is just as awesome as it sounds, by the way. And the last song on the album, Gotta Get Away, the album closer, is a powerhouse of a song. It's an absolute monster rock jam that Dan and Patrick blast out their absolute best stuff here. It's some serious songwriting. Brings back Clearwater Revival songs. It sort of sounds like they were inspired by that, if that makes sense. I don't know. Sometimes change is bad, sometimes change is good, but the Black Keys have had the same sound since the first album, so I think here change is good and indeed necessary. So, recommendations on this for songs, definitely, if you don't check out anything else on the album, first song, Way to Love, absolutely amazing. Both Turn Blue and Fever are just sort of similar on the sounds, but they're both great songs. And then I would also recommend Bullet in the Brain and the last two, In Our Prime and Gotta Get Away. So there's quite a few on this album, which is because it's a really good album. The Black Keys have maintained this streak of being one of the most solid, consistent rock bands of the modern era for a reason. Even with this change-up, they've managed to pull it off. So, Hypnosis. Get this album. Get this album. Get this album. 4.5 stars. Thanks.